What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and breaking news just coming out that Senator Joe Manchin said that he will agree to more stimulus. And so for those of you that have been looking for more stimulus packages, provisions, maybe even checks, looks like it could be on the way here very soon. This is your stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and breaking news update. Take a look at the headlines coming out in the last 24 hours. Manchin says that he passed part of Biden's agenda, but Democrats may have to write the bill for him. However, we're hearing that this is significant progress from where we've been. As you recall, Senator Joe Manchin shot down the Build Back Better bill back in December, saying he couldn't get on board with the provisions. Then just a couple weeks ago, we heard that they were trying to revive it, and he said with concerns of this record 40-year high inflation that he could not support it. And now in the last 24 hours, we're hearing he is on board. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you this article and also video footage so you can hear it directly from them for yourself as to what's unfolding. Now, we're also hearing that this is going to be needed. As I let you know, the president has said that he is trying to bring down the deficit, deal with inflation, get more legislation out to help out people. And we're hearing that more is going to be needed. As take a look at these headlines just coming out. White House warns of fall-winter surge without additional pandemic funding. They're requesting $10 billion for therapeutics and vaccines to battle the pandemic. Also, more stimulus for businesses. Also, more direct assistance in the form of gas stimulus checks, child tax credits, and child care funding. An assortment of different provisions. And we're hearing it still might be needed. Take a look, 100 million new pandemic infections across the U.S. next fall and winter if new funding is not approved, warns the White House. And take a look at, you guys, this is the U.S. cases. What's happening right now, you can say the 7-day moving average is moving upward to 71,000 cases, just 11,000 yesterday, but you can see we are on an upward trend, and they're warning that it could continue to go higher. Now, also, we've got an update that the president, he's trying to address all of these issues we're hearing, and tomorrow there's expected to be some big announcement about inflation. We're going to be hearing from the president tomorrow, and I will be sure to let you know what he says here on the channel as soon as that information comes out. But you guys, let's go ahead and dive into the latest, let you know what's unfolding right now with this update on Joe Manchin and more stimulus. But also wanted to mention, keep an eye out on the second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. More content coming on that channel as well. But let's go ahead and dive into the video footage and updates on stimulus right now. But before we do, if you can do me a quick favor, just takes a second. If you appreciate the updates, don't forget, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Just takes a second, helps me out a ton. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments, share this out. If this is your first time here and you'd like to stay up to date on all this information, totally free, come join the Ram Fam. It's free, why not? All you gotta do is hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and if you got any specific questions for me, I'm easy to get a hold of directly. Just hop onto Instagram, shoot me a DM at SteveRam3. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive into the video footage so you can hear it for yourself where things stand with more stimulus and Senator Joe Manchin.
Senate Democrats hope to tackle a major issue facing many Americans as they return to the office: child care. NBC News has learned that Senator Patty Murray is working on a slimmed-down child care proposal. It will reportedly be less than half the size of what was proposed last year as part of the Build Back Better plan. But will it be enough to win over Senator Joe Manchin? NBC's Sahil Kapoor joins us from Capitol Hill with more on that question. Sahil, you have some new reporting that gets into Manchin's thinking on this.
That's right, Jose. Well, firstly, I should say Senator Manchin has told me and others that he is still interested in passing a major piece of legislation with elements of President Biden's agenda with only Democratic votes, and he has specified the issues that he's willing to tackle in such a bill. That is tax hikes on upper earners and corporations, prescription drug savings, a major investment in climate change mitigation, as well as American energy, and he wants to use half the savings to deficit reduction. Very notably, childcare spending is not part of his asks, which makes it very unlikely at this point that he is going to come around to support a major childcare bill. Now, further, sources familiar with Senator Manchin's thinking tell me that he is unlikely to write a bill himself, that his view is he has laid out his broader parameters on the issues that he's willing to tackle, and he believes it's up to the White House and Democratic leaders to put pen to paper to create a piece of legislation around those parameters, get the party in line, and bring that to him, pass it through the House and the Senate. with that information, I took it to a Democratic aide who's familiar with this child care proposal. Why do they expect him to come around when he's been abundantly clear that this should not be in this so-called budget reconciliation process? Well, the aide said, firstly, child care is an urgent crisis. They're funding cliffs. And passing this funding now it has to be done through reconciliation, and if it is held off, then Republicans are not going to play ball. There's not a hope of getting to 60 votes, and the issue will simply fade away. Still, the reality is they need Joe Manchin to get 50 votes for any bill, and it's an open question whether this new push is going to actually win him over, or it's just going to further alienate him, given that Democrats are pushing him on things that he has repeatedly said he's not willing to support in this bill, Jose.
And Sahil, speaking about Senator Manchin, you have some new reporting on how Democrats are making Senator Manchin part of their campaign conversations.
That's right. He has become a bit of a villain on the Democratic primary trail. There are several candidates who are trying to tie their more moderate Democratic opponents to Joe Manchin. That includes Jessica Cisneros in Texas, who on this network recently called her opponent, Congressman Henry Cuellar, the Joe Manchin of the House, for opposing a bill to codify the protections of Roe versus Wade. In Oregon, there's a competitive primary with Kurt Schrader, the congressman, a Democrat, facing Jamie McLeod Skinner. She also calls him the Joe Manchin of the House for resisting major pieces of President Biden's agenda. Over in Pennsylvania, in a Senate Democratic primary, Congressman Connor Lamb has been endorsed by Manchin. John Fetterman, the Democratic frontrunner in that race, has been going around Pennsylvania saying, I'm not a Joe Manchin Democrat. If that's what you want, you shouldn't vote for me. And he looked over to Lamb in a recent debate and said, this man is your mentor. He's endorsed you. The whole idea here, Jose, is that they're signaling not only to progressive voters, but they're also trying to reach moderate Democrats who support Biden's agenda, who don't like the fact that Manchin is blocking that agenda. So it's a bit of a situation where Manchin is a man on an island all by himself, and Democratic candidates, unusually from previous primaries, see an opportunity to attack the more moderate candidate through this prism, through this frame, and gain a leg up in these primaries that are coming up.
There you have it, Senator Joe Manchin becoming a midterm election villain. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree that he is a villain for some of the things that he is not agreeing to, that he's stopping this legislation and stimulus provisions? Or do you feel like you agree with him, that you're more concerned about inflation, these record high prices, and we need to stop the spending, stop the legislation that could cause this to go even higher? Let me know your thoughts, but what we're hearing is he's saying that he is on board to pass more. However, he's going to be very selective in particular about the legislation that goes through. A link in the description below, you guys, that says Manchin says that he passed part of Biden's agenda, but Democrats may have to write the bill for him. Senator Joe Manchin says that he's still interested in passing major pieces of President Joe Biden's agenda, but sources close to Manchin say that Democrats may be making a mistake by waiting for him to lay out precisely what he'd support. Manchin has expressed interest in passing a bill through the filibuster-proof reconciliation process, so he's saying he will unify with Democrats to pass something through, and that it would raise taxes, reduce the deficit, cut prescription drug costs, and fund energy and climate measures, even though some Democrats fear that he is just running out the clock. He also began leading bipartisan talks on energy over the last 2 weeks, prompting worries among Democrats that he's losing interest in party-line bills to pass major climate policies. But sources close to Manchin believe that Democrats are making an error by passively waiting for him to craft his own detailed legislation, which many in the party have grumbled he should do ever since he rejected Biden's Build Back Better plan back in December. People familiar with Manchin's thinking say that he has repeatedly laid out his demands in public, but that he's unlikely to put pen to paper to write a reconciliation bill, and that that's a job for Democratic leaders. Now, the best approach would be for the White House to come up with a plan, get his approval, and then hand it off to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi to keep everybody in line, said a person familiar with Manchin's thinking, who requested anonymity to speak candidly. He's not going to write a partisan bill. That's just not who he is, they said. And as you know, Senator Joe Manchin is one for bipartisanship. He is against the party just overruling the minority. The source said that the White House, that they want it more than he does. So they're saying if they want to pass something through, they need to take the initiative, try to get him on board, because he's in a position where he doesn't really care as much if anything passes. Let me know your thoughts. So we're hearing that he is on board, but he is not super motivated to take action. He's waiting for them to kind of bring him on board. And we will see, you guys. In addition to that, the president is pushing for this. Progressives and Democrats want to stay in power. This is the midterm elections, and we're going to be seeing what they're able to pass through and agree upon. And also, the president is going to be speaking on the state of inflation and how he's going to be helping out the economy this Tuesday, tomorrow. I will be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel. So you guys, that is the latest. If you missed my last videos, don't forget, did some updates for you on state stimulus checks going out this month, approved and passed, and I'll keep you up to date on everything as it unfolds. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget, smash that like button. Just takes a second, helps me out a ton. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments, share this out. If this is your first time here and you like to stay up to date, totally free. So why not come join the Ram fam? All you got to do is smash that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. If you got any specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3, and consider joining my second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. But with that being said, you guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.